So I am here documenting today and the different choices for this day. And up here we have the pillars. And up there we have something that you cannot see, but it represents the abundance, the prosperity, the feminine principle. And on the back side of this building, there is what I have posted the other day. And so, this we see before us is oftentimes an ideal place for people to share ideas, to share leadership connections, to share that there is a different way we can go about bringing true goodwill, wisdom, and discernment in our leadership system. But we are all a leader in a variety of fields if we can see what is within the heart. And the hardest thing for leaders and people who wear a badge of authority is to recognize the ultimate authority lies within the heart. And that is something you cannot fully define through a symbol, such as a star and a metallic badge. And this is something that humanity is coming to recognize more of, but the buildings that represent leaders are the places where it is considered to be the most dense, the most hard-hearted, the most inconsiderate of what is within us, which is why I am here today. And I was not planning on saying all of this, but it feels like the most important thing. Is saying that we who see what is within the people will not tolerate those twisted principles that leverage resources and wealth and interest into the hands of a select few. And so people realize throughout social media more of what this prison game is that our society is based on. There are some true principles built into our system. It's not all flawed. My hair looks so beautiful. And so I came here with one idea in mind. I'm actually spiteful of my hair. But the intention changed because I felt the energy. Let me do this so it becomes a little bit more transparent. The hardest thing to say is our words can fundamentally shift the structure of our system, even as an individual, but without trying to change specific conditions other than the inequality, which can sound specific, but it's filtered through all institutions. And everyone is responsible on some level. And they may not believe that because most people reincarnate back into a baby because sometimes we don't see that what is within us is based on our perception we have of ourselves. And coming to this has brought me more awareness of how little passion, purpose, and interest is not the best word, how little encouragement there is from leaders to be outdoors, to spend time with the people, not just giving a speech. And so we are moving into an era where structures are decentralizing, even though it looks like they are doing the opposite. And so as more awareness builds, we'll actually build more connections through the multiverse, through the cybernetic channels, the internet, and develop different forms of synthesizing a culture that combines science and religion or mysticism into a more robust and accountable, transparent government. As we, the people, as individuals, must see ourselves as the government on some level for standing for the heart, for those rights that no institution, no authority on earth can take away. Hair, each follicle represents a certain, we might say, idea. And the longer or the more expanded that idea becomes, the more we might consider it as having sustainable representation. People can grow their hair long, and people might think it's beautiful. But the follicle represents an idea, and if people do not question their ideas, their hair, they will not see their ideas as having that ability to share the need to surrender what we have, at least in full measure, in half measures, in critical measures that allow us to reshape our sense of self beyond the physical, so that we can ground those rights, actions, and words into the physical, that allow for people to see that we are changing the equation as we speak or as you listen. We do this cycle of listening and speaking on some level, whether it's in our mind or whether it's with other people. But the hardest thing is to recognize that what's behind the face is the same face, the same flame that wants us to see that the problems we have are actually created in our mind. They're not actually external. And the hardest thing about this world that we call external is the fact that we could question that the resources we have, the skills we have, the whatever life we have, how can that be brought into the hands of the people, into those who want to talk, or I guess exchange, that life can be a beautiful play, a ground for squaring the circle, for bringing the feminine and the masculine, the creative aspect and the logical aspect. What are these aspects? It is speaking from the core, speaking from the furnace. And this is basically a portal that connects to other intelligence that isn't just artificial, or it isn't just based on what we have known on Earth. But it actually is based on a lineage that cannot die. It goes on throughout time, throughout cultures, and it will acknowledge that we are all leaders, presidents, prophets, geniuses, if we would just question what we have been told by the leaders. And those leaders often, throughout the different time periods, will kill or remove from society those people who try to say, we have the authority to release the power that opens up the box, the gift, the door, so that we can remember the key is our voice attuned to the frequency of the universal voice. And that voice sees all institutions as a part of itself. We do not need to dismantle them. It doesn't need to be anarchy and a violent revolution. But there does need to be some piercing break of the structure on some level for us to recognize the royal mask of the flame within can be bought on Amazon for $20. But at the same time, you can purchase it in truth by your ability to share a different vibration that synergizes with ideas that ground basic rights, basic principles into the systems that are currently lacking the basic humanity. And these systems I stand before. And it may not seem like we're talking to anyone because we're recording, but everything is being recorded, and these places represent a way in which we can come outside and externalize what's on the inside. But because leaders are often behind walls and desks, doors and chambers, corridors, the last thing they want are people who choose the light within every person that may not want you to choose the light. What is the light but the will to say, there is no real lack of resources, there is no real lack of culture, there is no real lack of guidance if we really surrender to what allows for the prosperous transition. What allows for the prosperous transition, but those who are willing to illuminate the atmosphere with those forms and structures that may not be so solidified, but are the very forces that reshape the solid, energetic forms into a completely different form. Our essence is formless, and humanity is waking up bit by bit. And what else can be said? What else can be said? But the time has come for us to find ways of doing something different, even though I'm doing something different than what I thought, than just coming here and handing out codes. With that being said, I don't want to say anything more. Thank you.